Sometimes a week can feel like a collection of waiting. The doctor's office, the airport, the pickup line at school, and there's only so much idle scrolling you can take. Make the most of your wait and download the free Boise State Public Radio mobile app to enjoy the company of live radio and podcasts. Stay entertained and informed with the latest news, inspiring stories, and thought-provoking discussions. Download the Boise State Public Radio app today to make your future waiting worthwhile.
From Boise State Public Radio, this is The Connector, Idaho's daily news. Good morning. I'm George Prentice. We've got a lot to share. Of course, there's big change in the weather outlook. A pretty good news on the fire watch. We're keeping a close watch on who's spending what this election season, especially on Proposition 1. We'll tell you about a new contract for Boise State athletics regarding broadcast and multimedia and other marketing. It is Friday, the 17th of October, and here are today's stories. Stephen Parker is at the National Weather Service office in Boise. Stephen, happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you. Good morning, George.
A freeze warning, right?
Yes, we are currently in a freeze warning.
What can we expect for most of the day today?
Most of the day today, it's going to be decreasing clouds.
Got it.
It's going to end up being a fairly nice afternoon. We're going to get up into the mid to upper 50s, which is about 5 to 10 degrees below normal, so not too bad, but definitely a chilly change compared to what we've experienced recently.
And another cool evening?
Cool, but not quite as cold.
Okay.
Saturday morning as it is this morning. And then Saturday looks like a beautiful day, highs in the low 60s, and just a very pleasant fall Saturday afternoon.
Isn't that pretty close to normal?
It is. It's getting up there. Saturday's normal high is 63, and we're forecasting 62, so that's about as close as you can get without being exact. So
something close to normal is just what the doctor ordered. Stephen, have a great weekend, and thank you.
All right, you as well. Thank you, George.
On the fire watch, hundreds of firefighters across Idaho are hoping that the dramatically cooler and wetter weather patterns of the last couple of days will be a distinct advantage for their efforts. Checking the Valley Fire east of Boise, which has burned more than 9,900 acres and is now 90% contained, they've been careful not to run too much equipment over wet soil, but indeed the rain has helped decrease fire activity in the remaining hot spots on the north edge of the Valley Fire near Roby Creek. Now to the huge lava fire, which has seen some snow at very high elevations and more than their share of rain. Cody Ledbetter is the lava fire's on-site meteorologist, and he confirms the precipitation on site. He says it should dry out today but remain quite cool.
And then even into today with some rain continuing like we're seeing now, and then the snow potential. Yeah, so looking ahead over the next few days, we're expecting drier conditions to return for the weekend, with another chance of rain potentially coming in early next week.
267 firefighters remain on the scene this morning, and the lava fire has burned nearly 98,000 acres. Thousands of more voters are expected to show up today at early in-person voting in 10 Idaho counties: Ada, Adams, Bingham, Blaine, Bonneville, Gem, Idaho, Kootenai, Minnetonka, and Twin Falls counties. In Ada County, officials tell us that they've been quite impressed at how many people have showed up in person just in the first few days. And as far as overall voter turnout this year?
I think based off what we're seeing in the turnout of early voting and the absentee requests, I think it's going to be well north of 80% turnout. It could approach 90% turnout based off the energy that we're seeing right now. But anywhere between 80 and 90% is my prediction.
That is Ada County Clerk Trent Triple speaking to us Thursday. And with just a few weeks until Election Day, it's officially political ad season. And as James Dawson reports, spending on Proposition 1 has blown up over the past month.
Idahoans for Open Primaries sponsors Prop 1, which would get rid of partisan primaries and introduce ranked choice voting. It has spent more than $350,000 on ads, including this one featuring former Republican state lawmaker Marv Hagedorn.
Proposition 1 respects veterans like me by opening Idaho's primaries, ensuring every Idaho taxpayer has the right to vote.
Current House Speaker Mike Moyle is one of the primary opponents of the initiative. His PAC, Idaho Rising, has spent $240,000 on ads so far, and he's starred in at least one himself.
This is not good for Idaho. This is not an Idaho issue. It's one being forced upon you. And if it does pass, it will not help Idaho. It will make Idaho worse.
A handful of other groups, including one backed by Idaho's richest man, Frank Vandersloot, have also spent tens of thousands of dollars opposing Prop 1. As of Thursday, Idahoans for Open Primaries has raised more than $3 million according to state records, 2/3 of it from out of state. James Dawson, Boise State Public Radio News.
In 2009, Boise State Athletics handed over control of its broadcasting and multimedia and some other marketing to Learfield Sports, a third party that works with many NCAA schools to manage their athletic brands. This week, the Idaho State Board of Education approved Boise State to extend its contract with Learfield, a contract that will give Boise State millions more in revenue. Troy Oppie reports.
In its current deal, Boise State gets $5.3 million each year from agreements managed by Learfield.
And what we looked at and we discovered was Boise State was getting about 53% of the revenue that Learfield was making.
That's Dan Gale, a consultant Boise State hired to analyze and help renegotiate the school's new 11-year contract with Learfield. It guarantees Boise State $8.5 million a year, and a new revenue-sharing agreement could mean even more revenue for Bronco Athletics.
It really aligns Boise State with Power 4 models. Having worked with Alabama, Minnesota, others, this type of deal aligns for future growth, protection of conference change, new assets, and a lot of elements that are really going to help this new phase of Boise State athletics.
The deal also includes some immediate funds to support the North End Zone renovation project, which Athletic Director Jeremiah Dickey says the school is still on track to begin this January. Troy Oppie, Boise State Public Radio News.
And that's it for today's episode of The Connector. I'm George Prentice. If you are enjoying the podcast as part of your weekday routine, we would love it if you could rate and review it wherever you're listening right now. This will help more people hear the show. And if you're feeling generous, spread the word in your circle or share The Connector with a friend that you might think would like it. And thanks for listening.
The candidates for November are set.
I know Donald Trump's type.
Between now and Election Day,
we are not going back.
A campaign season unfolding faster.
Kamala Harris is not getting a promotion
Than any in recent history.
Make America great again.
Follow it all with new episodes every weekday on the NPR Politics Podcast.